Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, Race Chat Live fans, and welcome to another Tuesday night, another Race Chat Live episode. We're going to have a short one. Chris is out enjoying himself a nice minor league baseball game, so it'll be just me, Taz Taylor, hosting tonight. I'm going to try doing this kind of short and sweet. We had New Hampshire. That ended up being a little bit of a wild one with how weather playing into factor. Then you had the wet tires and the dry tires game going into effect. Basically, Toyota, Ford dominant, primarily on the Joe Gibbs side for Toyota. Ford was a little bit of a mix of actually surprising Stuart Haas Racing and Penske. You had Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano putting their tip of the cap in there, while you have Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell. Truex was in the mix before he had his wreck. Kyle Busch, another tough luck. Speaking of Christopher Bell, he leaked out some news over the weekend of Chase Briscoe going to the 19 car during his press conference during the day Saturday. Then came in, took stage one on Sunday, fourth in stage two, and took the race win after it was all said and done. Of course, weather came into effect at some point. I think it was like a little over 2 hour rain delay that they ran into. Let's kind of go over quickly the results. Christopher Bell was the stage one winner, followed by Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Josh Berry, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick, and Alex Bowman. Reddick and Bowman, along with Ty Gibbs, who did not finish the top 10 at the end of stage one, they had a three-wide battle towards the end of the stage to finish that off. It was a good one to see. In stage two, Denny Hamlin took the win in that one, while Martin Truex Jr. and Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Todd Gilliland, Kyle Larson, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott, and Ross Chastain finished the top 10 at the end of that one. And then, of course, at the race end, it was Christopher Bell with the win, Chase Briscoe, Josh Berry, the podium, Kyle Larson, and Chris Buescher, the top. Notice out of that top five, three of them are out of the Ford camp, two of them out of the Stuart Haas Racing deal. Tyler Reddick, sixth, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., seventh, John Hunter Nemechek, Martin Truex Jr., and Ross Chastain, your top 10. As I mentioned last week with Chris, that this is a track where you either see the dominant car prevail or there are some underdogs that prevail at this track. It's usually one way or another. While, yes, Christopher Bell pretty much was the guy to beat this weekend. If you look at the names like Josh Berry, for instance, Ricky Stenhouse, John Hunter Nemechek, those are guys that don't primarily finish in top 10s on a weekly basis. They score top 10 finishes. Josh Berry finishing third. I think it was quite the surprise to see Josh Berry have a stellar run at New Hampshire in that number 4 car. But then again, Kevin Harvick has always ran well at New Hampshire with that number 4 car. So I guess Ronnie Childers had a little bit of something in the books for Josh Berry. I know the title of the show says Ding Dong, Christopher Bell sweeps in New Hampshire. That's because he won in the Xfinity Series as well. Christopher Bell did not finish the top 10 in Stage 1, but then came through late in Stage 2 to win the race overall. Sheldon Creed, Cole Custer, Justin Allgaier, Carson Quapfel, the top 5, Ryan Sieg, Parker Kligerman, Riley Herbst, Alex Bowman, and Corey Heim, the top 10. Let's go over the silly season news that came out earlier today. As I mentioned earlier, Bell kind of teased or accidentally dropped the secret information of Chase going over to the 19th, and by Chase, I mean Chase Briscoe, as officially announced earlier today. Chase Briscoe will be taking over the 19 car at Joe Gibbs Racing. Martin Truex Jr. will be retiring at the end of this season, as he announced a couple of weeks ago. And Chase Briscoe is the new man to head on over at Joe Gibbs Racing. I think Gibbs getting a younger guy may help the team some. I'm hoping this will put Briscoe back into race-winning contention that we were kind of seeing in 2022 when we had the first year of the next-gen car when he won at Phoenix, and he was turning some heads, some tracks too. I think he had a decent playoff run that year as well. My memory serves me correctly on that as well. Trying to look quick to see what other rumors and silly seasons news we can come out with for let's see, J-Ski. Obviously, we got Chase Briscoe covering Joe Gibbs in the 19. Let's see here. Rumor has it that we have Riley Herbst to drive the third 2311 car for the Cup Series. Should that team get a third charter, it is rumored that they are one of the teams to try to grab one of the available charters that Stuart Haas Racing is going to vacate with the team stepping away. However, speaking of Haas, Gene Haas has said he will keep one charter and could operate his own team, partner with somebody else. So it's looking like Tony Stewart is backing out and Gene Haas is staying in with the NASCAR scene to help promote his company of Haas Tooling and Haas Machinery and stuff like that. But as of right now, we do not know who will be in the Haas Racing machine. Right now, it is rumored that it's confirmed he'll have one Cup charter, and he apparently is going to have a two-car team for the Xfinity Series for him as well. As of right now, we do not know who's going to fill in those rides. I would not be surprised if Cole Custer gets the family money, goes back up into the Cup Series, and which is unfortunate because we would have to see either Josh Berry, Noah Gragson, or Ryan Preece go back down to the Xfinity. My guess is that Noah Gragson and Josh Berry probably have contracts for next year somewhere else, whether that be Front Row, which is rumored to where they could be going, or Wood Brothers, because it's seeming unlikely Harrison Burton may not be able to return to Wood Brothers Racing. That news is still up in the air. As I mentioned, 2311 is looking into buying one of the available charters from the SHR deal. Front Row has already bought one. Gene Haas is keeping one, so there's two accounted for, and it's rumored that Trackhouse and 2311 are buying into the other charters. Trackhouse and Colleague, as mentioned last week, could be a possible merge, or Colleague be sold to Trackhouse entirely. But that is all that we do know And as Miss Lee says in the chat, Ryan Preece will do good back in Xfinity. He very well could. If Riley Herbst leaves where he is now in Xfinity, that opens a door for Ryan Preece. If he gets knocked back down in Xfinity, maybe he could be a contender to win a championship. The other driver right now is Cole Custer that's in question, which, as I said earlier, it's looking like he could be moving back up to Cup, being that he's got family relations with Gene Haas and all that fancy stuff there. Trying to think of what other possibilities there could be. Let's see, Ms. Lee says, I'd rather not see Custer back in Cup. I'd rather not either, but we all know how money and family works sometimes in racing, unfortunately, and that's kind of where Custer probably fall. But again, we have to see how that all plays out for there. Riley Herbst isn't Cup material. No, I don't think he is either, but it's rumored he could be going to 2311 if they get that third charter. I don't know. It's funny how, if my memory serves me correctly, Riley Herbst, before going to Stuart Haas, was a Toyota development driver through Joe Gibbs and ARCA, I believe. Miss Lee can correct me on that one if I am wrong. I do think that's where he got started. Okay, I am right. Thank you for confirming that. So ironic how he comes into full circle. And it's also weird that Chase Briscoe, for the longest time, has always been a Ford driver, came through with Brad Keselowski in trucks, now Stuart Haas in Xfinity. Now he's going to be going to the Ford side of things, or he was on the Ford side of things in Cup Series when he got moved up, when Clint Boyer retired. Now he's going over to what people would say the dark side of the Toyota with Joe Gibbs. Who knows? This could be the career turnaround for Chase Briscoe we've been waiting for. I mean, that 19 car the 19 car Joe Gibbs has been very good equipment. If you look at past seasons, like Carl Edwards was a championship contender in the 19 car. Daniel Suarez, unfortunately, was rushed up into that car, so I don't believe that was much of an equipment type problem when Suarez was in there. I think it was more of a driver getting rushed up / maybe didn't have the full-on talent to be in a top-tier ride such as a Gibbs car. If JGR doesn't give him the red-headed stepchild treatment, yeah, this is true. If he doesn't give him Briscoe wasn't the redheaded stepchild over at SHR. I think he earned his Cup ride through being in Xfinity and being a title contender for, I believe, his final 2 years when he was there. Again, there's a lot of pieces coming into play for silly season, what to expect for next year. So that is what we are coming up to. But it's GGR. You not wrong there. Not wrong there at all. Anyways, that's kind of a quick rundown of what we can do. We have Nashville coming up this weekend for I believe Cup and Xfinity. I know Cup definitely, Xfinity, yes. Oh, it's a triple threat. Look at that. Series runs Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 2 of all programs and MRN Radio. The Xfinity Series will run at 5 o'clock Eastern Time on Saturday on USA and PRN Radio. And then the Cup Series, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday from NBC and PRN Radio as well. And as we look at what we have going on for hot picks, as of right now, we currently have for favorites Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott, as those guys have been the 3 winners we have been to this track in the 3 races the series has visited. For contenders, we have Joey Logano, William Byron, and Martin Truex Jr. Underdogs, I have listed as Daniel Suarez, Noah Gragson, and Ty Gibbs. Now, looking at the stat sheet here, there are 3 drivers, actually 2 that are active, but there are 3 drivers who have an average finish of a 5.0 or better, and that is Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, and Kurt Busch. Obviously, Kurt Busch has retired, so he does not count. So these 2 drivers, Chastain and Larson, have very identical stats. They both have 1 win, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s. Chastain has 1 pole to Larson 0. Larson has led 264 to Chastain's 103. Average start, Larson favors that one of a 5.0 to a 9.0 in Ross Chastain. But Chastain has a better average finish of a 2.7 versus Larson's 3.3. I would say those are your 2 biggest drivers to look for. Chase Elliott, who has 1 here, also with 1 win, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 8.0 average start to a 14.7 average finish. I'm not going to take that away from him not being a favorite, as that we've been here for 3 races, and Larson, Chastain, and Chase Elliott have been your 3 winners so far. Could we get a repeat winner, one of those 3 drivers getting win number 2 at this track, or could we possibly see a 4th different driver win in the Cup Series 4th year of being there? Miss Lee mentioned Tyler Reddick. Unfortunately for Tyler Reddick, this is not a track that seems to fit him. He has yet to record a top 10. He has led 33 laps. However, his average start is a 14.7 and a 22.0 average finish. Yet, yes, he's had a pretty stellar, I won't say stellar, but a pretty good season so far. But looking like this track is not suited for Tyler Reddick. I don't know if it's because of inconsistencies or doesn't have the top contending speed of coming to Nashville. There are 2 favorites that should be worth noted here, and they're both out of the Toyota camp, and once again, JGR. I would not be surprised if either one of these 2 drivers grabbed their first Nashville win here, and that is Christopher Bell and Danny Hamlin. Christopher Bell, 3 top 10s in 3 races. Has only led 3 laps, shockingly, but has an average start of 18.7 and an average finish of 8.0. And, of course, with the momentum that Christopher Bell has had so far this year, it would not be surprising if he goes back-to-back. Although nobody has gone back-to-back this year in race wins. So can Christopher Bell be the first to do it in 2024? Or will we have to wait on that answer a little bit longer? Denny Hamlin obviously been part of the big 3. If we insert if we insert Christopher Bell at this point, we could see a possible big four in this case here as well. Hamlin has 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, has led almost 200 laps, a 7.3 average start and a 10.0 average finish. So and of course, we know Hamlin, he's been a contender all year long, and everyone keeps circling him to win the championship this year, but people need to realize unless Hamlin can actually finally come through, which, hey, we've seen miracles before. Look at the Florida Panthers last night. They finally got that Stanley Cup victory. Can Denny Hamlin pull the Florida Panthers storybook ending, or will we keep seeing what we see out of the modern Dallas Cowboys? Sorry to you Cowboys fans. Could be a serious threat and contender throughout the regular season, and then when playoffs come, they find a way to choke when it matters most. Who knows about that? A couple of contenders we can list off here as well. I would not be opposed of throwing in somebody here. I'm afraid of throwing in Kyle Busch in this case here. I think Ryan Blaney could be a contender here. We're seeing Ford and Team Penske start to throw in some good, consistent runs as of late. I know Ryan Blaney started off well, then started quiet. Now he's starting to come back into the picture along with his teammate Joey Logano, who had a very rough start to the year, and the last few weeks has shown that he can be a contender, at least a contender. I'm not liking the fact we're not seeing him on the favorite side of things, being that Joey Logano in the last, I think, handful of years has been a championship threat in even years and does poorly in the odd number of years. Another contender to possibly look out for, oh boy. I mean, we could throw in Tyler Reddick. I know this is not his track, but given the season Reddick has had so far, and he has made me eat my words a couple of times this year, Tyler Reddick has turned some heads around. I know this year he said he's focused on some tracks where he has not ran well at and make it better so that he is a contender on a weekly basis. So, you know what? I'll kind of throw in this lead suggestion of Tyler Reddick. We'll throw him in as a contender. A couple underdogs to throw in, as I had mentioned, we have Suarez, Gregson, and Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs has yet to record a top 10. However, he's sitting consistently in that 14th to 16th race, or 14th to 16th place person. So I will throw him in as an underdog. Another one to throw in would be, I know Chris won't like me saying this one, but we're going to throw in Ricky Stenhouse. That's right, I said it. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He has recorded a top 10 here, and he has snuck in some top 10/top 5 finishes in the last couple of weeks as well. And this list has put Kyle Busch as an underdog. You know what? That would not be a bad idea. I know he's seeming like with how vocal he's been lately, he's looking to get out of RCR and trying to find somewhere else to go after the 2025 season, meaning that he's under contract through the 2025 season. A couple other names to throw out here as well. Eric Jones has recorded a top 10 here at Nashville before. let's see, Austin Cindric could be thrown in as an underdog. Brad Keselowski, not a track to his favor here at Nashville. Alex Bowman could be another one for a head turner on his deal. And I know I mentioned in the chat thread earlier tonight, but do not be surprised if we see a Trackhouse win this week, given these what I've said about Ross Chastain. Daniel Suarez, however, I did not mention him, or I mentioned his name, but I did not mention his stats. Daniel Suarez has won top 10 in 3 races, but has an average start of a 12.3 and an average finish of 11.3. Could we see 2 Trackhouse cars be in the top 10 all race long? There's a good possibility. Don't count out Trackhouse here. If there is one track that team has circled, it's going to be this one. And they're going to have their cars ready to go, locked and ready. Quickly, we want to note for the NASCAR pool we have going on, we have 8 regular season races left here. Of course, top 4 from each group will go into the playoffs and compete for the grand prize, while everybody else will be placed in the what's called the Group C, or the consolation bracket is what it is called for other fantasy sports pools that happen. Once the regular season is done, it does not mean everybody that did not make the playoffs can stop participating. You can keep participating, because there is a small little prize for the person that finishes on top in points in that little consolation group right there. Nobody is mathematically been eliminated yet as of right now from either first place or being in the playoffs coming up. Congrats. We want to give congrats to Chris, Anthony, and Luke for scoring the correct picks in Christopher Bell this past week. Anthony scored his 3rd of the season, while Chris and Luke scored their 2nd pick of the season. Anthony currently sits 2nd in the correct pick leaderboards, all by himself, behind myself, who has 4. There's a 5-way tie with 2 between John, Craig, Nick, Luke, and Chris. And then there are 5 people who have 1 pick correct all season long. That's David, Teresa, Brianna, Justin, and Miss Lee. But again, 8 races, anything can happen. And who knows? Maybe we could see a sleeper who's in the bottom of each group sneak their way into the playoffs. We've seen some wild things happen before. But anyways, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. We want to thank everybody for listening along to this short show. Hopefully we'll have Chris back here next week for another episode of Tuesday Night Race Chat Live here on Blog Talk Radio. Make sure you like our Facebook pages, Race Chat Live and the 110 Nation Sports, for up-to-date news, show links, and stuff like that. Speaking of shows, if you ever miss us live on Blog Talk Radio, you can always catch replays here on Blog Talk Radio, or catch us on any forms of podcasts such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, you name it, we're on it. Just search the 110 Nations on any forms of podcasts, and you'll find our shows along with Mr. CJ and Mario from Carolina Sports Plus. They have their Wednesday night shows of the 110 Nation Sports shows, where they cover anything between NFL, NBA, NHL, They cover the scoops, hottest details of what's going on with this, their seasons, pre-seasons, post-seasons, and even the off-season and drafts as well. Also, Thursday night is Jared Hudson's Safety 2 Success shows. You'll find those as well. And with that being said, we'll see you at the same bet time, same bet place next Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday night here on Blog Talk Radio. This is the Tasmanian Devil and Flaggers, Taz Taylor, signing out. We'll see y'all next week. Bye, folks.
Wide open when the lights turn green. Yeah, buddy, that's a dirt track thing. Throwing mud, but it looks so clean. Yeah, buddy, that's a dirt track thing. 3/8 to the little bull ring. Yeah, buddy, that's a dirt track thing. Waffle House with a dirt track queen. Yeah, now that's a dirt track thing. Roll through the pit gate, pit past paved. Bubba Dunn called, said he got a spot saved. Lil Dave said that he drew a 35. Probably gonna put him third row inside. Hey, it's still sloppy on the bottom. Hit him on the high side, I guarantee you got him. I'm like, dude, I'm on the outside.